what advice would you give to a brand new investor just getting started?
You just got to stick with it and make sure you go get a credit card that you can put some marketing on.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for hopping on this call with me today. This is part of our Amplify REI show where we get to learn from rockstar investors who are just totally crushing it in their local markets. You're going to have to probably correct me, but I'm going to say Kevin from Louisville. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Louisville. Just got to slur your words.
No Louisville here. We're
no Louisville, no Louisville, just Louisville.
Louisville. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yeah, appreciate having me on.
Yeah. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's roll the clock back however far it is to what got you really interested in the real estate investing industry. And if you wouldn't mind, just kind of tell me about that first deal that you kind of sunk your teeth into that has led you to where you are now.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll give you a quick background. How I even got there in the first place was in college. I lived in a duplex with fraternity brothers, and it was 5 rooms and 5 rooms front and back. And they were charging us $500 a head. And wow. I realized my landlord was just making bank off us. And we just continually kept putting fraternity members in there each year. So he had a steady flow of tenants. So that led me to, reading a bunch of books, getting on bigger pockets. And then fast forward to 2019, I'd been sitting around for 5 years with analysis paralysis. And pretty much hated what I was doing in my job. I was in insurance at the time. Pretty much told my wife, it's either I finally do this or I stop talking about it. So at that point, I'd met up with a contractor partner who we did a few deals together in the beginning, and he kind of gave me a little bit of confidence to jump into a flip. So I told my wife, I'm going to take $5,000 out of savings. I'm going to partner with this contractor, and we're going to go buy a flip, and let's see how it goes.
Nice.
And so luckily that turned out pretty well on the first one, because my wife was obviously pretty hesitant about it. Her being a nurse, she's not reading the real estate books. So if that had gone bad, I don't know if I would have done any more after that.
That's awesome. So was that back in 2019 then that you did your first kind of main flip?
Yeah. So I bought my first flip in March of 2019. It took about 8 months to get done. So it went over budget, over timeline, but was still able to walk away with about 10,000 each between me and the partner.
Nice. Great. Well, cool. So, I mean, you obviously, do you feel like that kind of scratched that itch where you've been learning about it for a long time? Finally, you're like, okay, I'm going all in. We're going to do it. And then from there, I'm assuming it's just, you've been all in ever since.
Yeah. From there, I realized that it was, so doable. It was a lot easier than expected. And it's kind of like an addiction. Once I bought one property, I think I had bought 3 or 4 within a couple months of that first one. It was just getting the flipping train churning along, and it just kind of took off from there.
That's awesome. Well, kudos to you and kudos to your wife for trusting in yourself to jump in and take that risk on that first flip. I'm sure she doesn't regret it anymore. I'm assuming you probably have a little bit more flexibility, hopefully making a little bit more money. And you're creating the lifestyle and the legacy that you're probably hoping to for you and your family.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster the first 2.5 years, and we're definitely not to the peak yet. We're still kind of going uphill, but it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. I mean, it's so common. You're sitting in your typical job, kind of feeling burnt out, like not feeling like this is for you, and you're looking to do something on your own. And a lot of people end up leaning towards real estate. And especially once they learn about how you can flip and wholesale and all these things without your own money, it's a great avenue to become a business owner, an entrepreneur, and an investor. So that's fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing that. So let's kind of jump now to the present day, 2021, where you've been crushing it from what I can see. You've been closing quite a few deals over the last few months. Tell me about just kind of your most recent deal that you've closed, if you wouldn't mind, and maybe kind of the contrast of it, what you've learned from compared to that first deal to what you learned and you've applied now.
Okay. So yeah, about 6 months ago, I kind of sat down and realized I need more consistent monthly income, and flips just weren't getting it done because you can only scale so fast. Cost of materials was skyrocketing. Contractors are going downhill. I'm sure you've seen, the labor supply is terrible.
It's crazy.
I completely adjusted my focus from flipping to, 100% headfirst into wholesaling. And I had kind of dabbled a little bit here and there in wholesaling. If I came across a deal that didn't fit my flip model, I'd wholesale it. But I just feel like the wholesaling method is so much faster and you can just raise capital a lot quicker. And so I've done a lot with working with VAs, cold calling, doing different methods, driving for dollars. And then I met a guy named Jordan Isham on a podcast, and I'm masterminding with him now. He was raving about Amplify My Business, and how it's just giving them consistent lead flow. Now it's kind of like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Don't have to deal with, VAs, cold calling and retraining. Lead flow. So once I hopped in, it's been going great. I think I got 64 leads in 2.5 months or so. Almost 7% close rate, which I think is pretty good considering they're just coming to my computer screen.
Yeah.
It's been a great experience so far. My most recent one was a nice, it was a rural property. The guy had inherited it from his father, just went through probate. So now that all the probate was clear, he was ready to unload it. And I think it might have been his wife that filled out the form online, got the information. I was able to get on our contract, I believe within 48 hours.
Wow.
Find a buyer same day, an end buyer.
Holy cow. So lead comes in under contract within 48 hours, and then you found a buyer within 24 hours of that.
Yeah, I shouted out to my buyers list, some other realtors I know. And yeah, they had someone lined up for me real quick.
Wow, that's amazing. That's crazy. That might be the fastest I've heard. So probably total in 72 hours from lead to close.
Yeah, that's a solid one. That's a home run.
that's pretty dang good. That doesn't happen every day, I mean,
no, usually a little more convincing. It might take a week or two to get the contract. That one was quick. So I love those probate leads, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Yeah, we've here at Amplify, we have what we call investor success channel. So anytime one of our clients uses a CRM to put a deal under contract or close a deal, our entire company is notified, and we celebrate and we get super excited. And we've been loving seeing your name constantly popping up in our investor success channel. It's been super fun to watch your business to grow. So actually, let me ask you this real quick, if you wouldn't mind. How has your life been different compared to now, the last 2 months where you've been getting the consistent deal and lead flow compared to what it was before?
So, obviously a lot of stressful just because the income's been a little more steady. That's what I think a lot of newbies don't realize. They want to jump into wholesaling and flipping. I barely even call that real estate investing. So there's nothing passive about it. It's just I gave myself a high paying, a little more flexible job.
Sales. Yeah. I really think it's more of a sales transactional job than it is investing.
Yeah. So, having a sales background helped quite a bit jumping into wholesaling. But it's just, this has freed up my time. I'm not having to sit and work through these terrible leads that I'm getting from cold calling, or, spend all my time skip tracing, driving for dollars and sending out mailers. It's just kind of streamlined my business quite a bit to where, I have these consistent leads. I'm hopping on quickly, I'm getting moved quickly, but I can focus on other things, like the flipping. So I have started flipping again. I'm an agent as well. So I'm working with out-of-state investors quite a bit, helping them buy. So it's just helped me streamline the wholesaling business quite a bit. So I'm not stuck in front of a phone all day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you feel like you have more of like an actual, so I've seen a lot of people who are just, kind of starting out as wholesalers. It's like them, they're driving for dollars. They're doing band signs. They're just kind of out there hustling. Do you feel like this has propelled you? And I don't know the answer to this. Do you feel like it's propelled you into more of like a legit operation and business where you feel like you're building consistency systems and something that's bigger? Or do you still feel, kind of like, this is me, my solo shop, and I've just found a better way to get consistent lead flow?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. It definitely makes me feel like I'm a legitimate wholesaler and I'm running a business, and it's not these one-off leads every 2-3 months. It's, I know I'm going to get a lead this week. I know I'm going to have a lead next week. and I can just track the income a lot better. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's our main goal here at Amplify. We have a mission statement, and in that mission statement, we're focused on helping people, entrepreneurs, build real businesses that with scalable operations and systems and processes. And hopefully, we've been able to provide that with you. So, well, let me ask you this one last question, Kevin, before I let you go. What advice would you give to that brand new real estate investor? So there's some guy who's sitting there paying rent to his landlord. And, what advice would you give to a brand new investor just getting started?
You just got to stick with it and make sure you go get a credit card that you can put some marketing on. I've tried wholesaling twice before, and I just didn't have the marketing budget. That's what you see a lot of the gurus is start with no money wholesaling, drive for dollars, but it doesn't matter if you use an Amplify, it doesn't matter if you drive for dollars, you're still going to have a marketing cost, and you got to be ready for that. And you got to be able to handle paying, $2,000-3,000 and not getting a deal for a month or two. And just really power through that. So it's kind of why I've quit on wholesaling. The previous 2 times I tried it, I ended up spending all this money, and I just didn't see the results, and I quit on it too quickly. Whereas this time, I spent a few $1,000 and boom, I've closed almost $25,000 in leads in 2.5 months.
That's pretty good return then there, if you ask me. So that's great advice. I think that's wise advice. I think you hit the nail on the head, where a lot of people think, oh, I can just jump into this. I'm going to go, drive around my neighborhood for, 2 hours. I'm going to find a deal and make $10,000. Right. And that's just, I mean, if you're super, super lucky, that's going to happen. But like the reality is that just doesn't happen. It takes a lot of time, grit, and if you're trying to actually build a business, it's going to take capital, and that capital can come from whatever source you need, but you're going to have some expenses. And whether that's time and energy, or if it's actually straight cash, you need to be aware of that. You're actually investing into yourself and into a business, not just some fun side hustle that you can drive around a neighborhood, once 2 hours a week. So
if there's newbies out there that still have jobs and they close 1 deal, 2 deals, 3 deals, I throw 90% of that money back into the business. It'll save you a lot of headaches down the road.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, great advice, Kevin. Thank you. We're excited to see you continue to scale and grow. If there's anything we can do here at Amplify to continue to support you, please let us know. And we're just excited for you. So thank you.
I appreciate the help, and hopefully you'll see another deal coming down the pipe here soon.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks, Kevin. Have a great day.
See you. Thanks, man.